this time I want
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Keisha Ashiramawa with my SID 33230095. So today, I would like to be presenting about classroom management project 2. So we have three main topics. The first one is teaching tolerance. The second is helping students handle anger, frustration, and aggression. And the last one is disruptive behavior. So let's start with teaching tolerance. What does it actually mean, teaching tolerance? Teaching tolerance is way more than just telling kids, don't tease your friends. In a modern classroom, it's about actively building an inclusive ecosystem where every student's background, whether it's their culture, race, gender, and socioeconomic status or academic level, is treated as a classroom asset, not a barrier. So, why it matters? Without tolerance, a classroom quickly becomes a breeding ground for microaggression, exclusive cliques, and bullying. This unsafe environment causes massive stress for students and completely derails their ability to focus on learning. Next slide. How we implement it. First, bring in multicultural content. As English teachers, we shouldn't just stick to Western stories. We need to pick reading materials that showcase voices, heroes, and histories from all corners of the globe to open our student eyes to how this diverse the world is. The second is set inclusive classroom norms. Right. On day one, build a classroom contract with your students. Write down clear rules like we listen when I speak here, and every identity is valuable here. And make sure there are logical consequences if these boundaries are crossed. And the last one is use structures, group work. If you always let students pick their own group, they will just gravitate toward peers who are exactly like them. Mix it up heterogeneously by abilities, genders, or backgrounds, so they get used to collaborating with people different from themselves. Next is moving to topic 2 is helping students handle anger, frustration, and aggression. Where do these negative emotions come from? First, students are still growing up and honestly, they often just don't know how to express intense emotion the right way yet. Second, frustration usually boils down to academic pressure, like when an English text felt too hard or the instructions are confusing. And the last one is anger and aggression are typically sparked by social triggers, like feeling treated unfairly by a peer or a teacher, or simply bringing heavy personal problems from home. Okay, next is the teacher's roles, proactive versus reactive. Inexperienced teachers tend to be reactive. They match the student anger or snap at them, which only makes this worse. Weak teachers choose to be proactive and this escalating. They focus on bringing the emotional temperature down. Okay, next, how we can implement it. The de-escalation protocol. First, when a student starts shooting or acting aggressively, keep your body language completely not threatening. Don't stand too close or point fingers. Use a soft, low, and completely calm tone. Emotions are contagious if you stay grounded. The student will the student will slowly match your energy and calm down too. The second one is create a cool down space. Set up a cozy, quiet corner in your room with a couple of books or some stretch paper. If a student is clearly hitting a breaking point, give them a 5 minute pass to chill out in that space before trying to talk things through. And the last one is teach emotional literacy with statements. Show students how to voice their struggles assertively instead of aggressively. Teach them to say, I feel frustrated because I don't get this assignment. Instead of yelling, this assignment is stupid. Okay, next is the main topic, the last main topic is disruptive behaviors. What counts as disruptive behavior? Simply put, it's anything a student does that directly breaks the flow of your lesson or puts a halt to learning. We see this all the time, talking out of turn, making weird noises, wandering around the room while you're explaining something or purposely trying to distract their classmate. Next is why do students do it? Most disruption actually happens for two very specific reasons: the function of behavior. First, seeking attention. They want the teacher to notice them, or they want to look cool and funny in front of their friends. The second one is escaping the task. They intentionally create a scene to derail the class so they have a perfect excuse to avoid a difficult assignment. Next, how we can implement it. First, first is uh, least intrusive interventions. Do not pause your whole lesson just to call out one student. It robs every else of their learning time. Handle it step by step. First, proximity control. Keep teaching, but walk over and stand near the student desk. Your physical presence is usually enough to get them back on track. The second is nonverbal cues. Look eye contact for a second or give a gentle tap on their decks without missing a beat in your explanation. Okay, the second one is master the art of planet ignoring. If the disruption is minor and clearly just an attention grab, like a little motor, ignore it. Instead, wait it out and shower them with massive positive reinforcement the exact moment they actually do something good, like sitting quietly or raising their hand. Okay, the last one is build clear clear transition routines. Classrooms usually fall apart during the gaps between activities, like moving from individual work to group work. You need a foolproof transition cue, like a specific clap pattern, a quick countdown so students know exactly when it's time to quiet down and move. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, next we moving on to part 2, case study. Okay, case study. The first case study is Alex's aggressive behavior. The problem. What is the problem of Alex? Alex talks back, interrupts lesson, and gets physically aggressive with peers. Okay, the solution of that problem is the first one, functional behavior assignment. FBA. Track when and why Alex gets angry to find his exact triggers. Attention versus escaping tasks. Second one is behavior contract. Create a daily goals checklist signed by Alex, his parents, and the teacher tied to positive rewards. And the last one is safe escape signal. Teach Alex a quiet hand signal he can use to go to a cool down corner before he loses control. Okay, next is second case study. Reducing of text behavior. The problem is several students are daydreaming, chatting, and using phones during math. The solution of that problem is first, phone parking lot. Make it mandatory for students to put their phones in a storage box at the door before class starts. Second, total participation. Mini whiteboards. Ask a question and have every student write the answer on a small whiteboard and hold it up. And the last one is praise around. Instead of scolding the distracted students, loudly praise the student sitting next to them who is working hard. Okay, and the last one is case study 3, Jack disruptive behavior. The problem is Jack constantly talks out of turn and makes inappropriate comments to get attention. The three simple solution is first, plain ignoring. Ignore Jack's bad comments completely. Give him zero attention, but praise him instantly when he behaves well. Second is private chats. Pull him aside quietly, quietly and say, Jack, you can choose to work quietly now or finish this during recess. It's your choices. Like that. And the last one is classroom job. Give him a responsible role like class timekeeper so he gets attention in a positive way. And next slide is okay. Thank you so much. I think this is enough for my explanation. I'm sorry if I have a wrong explanation or a not completed slide. I'm sorry, and I hope you enjoyed to watch this video. Thank you so much.